Hello, hello, hello. It's Ebony Phoenix here. Like I said, I'm like a bad penny. I keep coming back every week. Well, I am going to continue our conversation with Miss Gray Goddess about divested dating. This is part 2 in our Divested 101 series. And let's get into it. Gray Goddess, how are you this evening?
I am well. I am very well. What about you?
I am doing great, and I'm really, really happy and honored to actually have you here to sit and talk about this again. Some ladies may actually benefit from it. So let's just dive in.
All right.
Wonderful. Okay, so divested dating. Oh God, part 2. There's a lot we got to say, don't we, Gray Goddess?
Yes, a lot to cover, but I think it'll be good for the young ladies to hear.
Wonderful, wonderful. I have a point here that I want to start with. Here's something that we need to understand before you get out there full and heavy, okay, in all your glory. There are stereotypes out there floating around about Black women and girls that can really affect your dating prospects, okay? And here's what I'm saying. Whether you know it or understand it or not, that there are a myriad of stereotypes floating around the earth that may have nothing to do with you, that other people believe. So please keep this in mind. So I want to go through some of those, and Great Goddess, please jump in here, because I'm sure you have a list also. But let me go through some of this. First of all, it is unfortunate, but that African women or women of African descent, African American or African from the diaspora, are considered whores or loose. Have you heard that one, Gray Goddess?
I'm sorry, say that part again.
That women of African descent, no matter where they are in the diaspora, American or not, are whores or loose women or prostitutes.
I have heard that stereotype, yes.
And that stereotype, unfortunately, is not confined to one region of the world or the other. Apparently, with the terrible socioeconomic conditions in Caribbean countries, South American countries like Brazil, the United States, and throughout certain African coastal countries where their women do resort to prostitution because they're not supported by the men. What do you have to say about that, Gray Goddess?
I will say that, like I said, I have heard that stereotype, but I think that's a stereotype about American Black women and foreign Black women that was started by Black males just as another way to disparage us.
And yes, I mean, historically speaking, there were women who, with American chattel slavery or the Atlantic slave trade, women who were sexually assaulted. And we know men in general tend to not take responsibility for their own sexual behavior, as we know. And throughout the modern era, the 20th and 21st centuries, that is one that is just not going away soon. Just because someone thinks that about you or may have that stereotype about you, does not mean that you need to live down to it. Okay. Now, I have no problem with sex workers. Being a healthcare professional for many years, I have respect for work, whatever work you do. Now, sex worker work tends to be very dangerous, but when women do not have access to education and training or jobs, uh, many of them do resort, not just women from the African diaspora, but many women resort to prostitution wherever they are just to make ends meet. And I would never put a woman down for the type of work that she can do. Do you have any thoughts on that, Grey Goddess?
I wouldn't shame or have anything negative to say about any woman that does sex work, neither.
Okay. Yeah.
Everybody's situation in life is different.
Exactly. And everybody comes to where they are presently in different ways. So that's that being said, though, understand that may be an issue that you may have to contend with in dating, no matter how refined or how beautiful or how, um, upstanding of a young lady you are. Um, Respectability politics is not extended um, completely to Black women and is forgiving of Black women at all. And this is one that has stuck around and will always be there. The next one is that I've heard this one in some circles where a lot of people believe that women from the Black or the African diaspora or in the Black collective are HIV positive and have, a large burden of STIs. Now, according to the recent CDC communique and data, the Black collective does have a higher rate of STIs than other uh, demographic groups. And there seems to be a very lax attitude towards sexual responsibility in the Black collective, whereas a lot of the men walking around don't even know that they have STIs, and some of them who do don't care to inform the women that they're trying to have sex with. What do you have to say about that, Grey Goddess?
I will say that if people outside of the Black community or Blackistan think that most Black women have STIs, it is because they know how Black men are and how much Black men sleep around. And since they know that most Black women are race loyal and refuse to date out, to me, it's just automatically by default that they would think this. Even though it's not true, we're being associated with certain things because that's what Black males are associated with. So it's just kind of like by default that we get those same stereotypes.
Now, Black women as compared to Black men in terms of percentage or prevalence or indices of STIs, that I have to dig out again. But the African American community, when you take it, African American collective in its entirety, does have a higher burden of STIs than the other demographic groups in the United States. Definitely, I don't know about worldwide. I would have to get that data. I don't know if the World Health Organization has it, but I could find that. But definitely in the United States, when you look at the Black collective as a whole, there is a higher burden of STIs, and a lot of these men walking around have multiple STIs. A lot of them don't have symptoms, so they don't get checked. And a lot of these guys don't go to the doctor anyway. And so they, whether willingly, unconsciously, or consciously, they do tend to spread STIs. And, which is a very big point for divestment. Don't you think, Grey Goddess?
I do agree.
Now, the next point, the second one is that all Black women love Black men and want a Black man. Now, this one, oh my God, this one we came by this honestly with many celebrities and these women running around saying, only a black man for me, only a black man for me. And these women and sometimes girls do not represent the entirety of Black women in this country, but a lot of them are putting this out on social media. Carrie Hilson and others. It's just really kind of disgusting. What are your thoughts, Gray Goddess?
My thoughts on Black women and of all ages saying this, it really bothers me, and I don't understand it. I had a very close friend of mine tell me on Friday that she couldn't see herself kissing a man that was not Black, let alone having sex with a man that was not Black. And she said that her vagina was for Black men only. And it really aggravated me that she said this. But, then again, she has her right to feel the way that she feel, but I don't understand why so many Black women feel this way. I mean, I understand why they say it. I mean, I don't understand how they could feel that way, but I do get the conditioning as to why they feel like this. It's just really damaging for Black women's image when you have Black women and girls going around making these broad, sweeping, generalizing statements. It just could be damaging for our image because unfortunately we aren't seen as individuals. We are seen as a collective by the majority of society. So when you have a large amount of Black women going around saying statements that, I could never be with a Black man and I don't like penis and I could never be with them because their ancestors might have enslaved my ancestors. It's just complete foolishness. And I feel like we need to stop. Black women need to stop making these statements and really actually think about what they're saying.
Thank you, Gray Goddess. What is good for Black men is not necessarily good for Black women. Remember that. The destinies of Black men and Black women, especially in the United States, are not necessarily completely tied together. And I think a lot of Black women see themselves in Black men. Their Black men are a part of their identity as a Black woman. Not mine. Okay. I see myself as an individual who is Black. But Black men don't see their identity in Black women at all. They see themselves as free agents. So I say be free. They got it right. And I think Black women should be free also. So this whole thing is only Black women, that Black women only want Black men, is more and more a fallacy. Now, there are many Black women who are very race loyal when it comes to dating, even though Black men are not. And let me repeat this. Black men are not. You don't own every Black man on the planet, and no Black man on the planet should own you. Understand that. Next, let's go to the next one. That Black women are dumb. Now, I think this is or ignorant or unrefined, unclassy, whatever. And I think a lot of that comes from TV, some of the roles that women have played, and to get work in Hollywood. It's pretty tasteless. It's untrue. We're one of the most educated groups, at least in the United States, definitely. And I think this is wrong. There have been plenty of Black women from the upper echelons of the dominant society in general who displayed grace, and they've displayed intelligence. And Black women have a lot of emotional intelligence. And I've noticed that no matter how educated or non-educated she is, they have a lot of emotional intelligence. And I've seen that in the workplace. I've seen that in social situations when they can gauge situations very well, except when it comes to their own safety. They don't understand how black men see them. And even if they don't understand it, they just refuse to believe it. They believe what is before their eyes. They disbelieve what they see in everyday situations. I don't want anything black but my PlayStation console and that silliness. And they're willing to say, well, that's only one black man. No, it's not. It's a majority of black men in the collective who feel that way. They don't want anybody who looks like them. What do you think, Gray Goddess?
I think that is true. I think just that a large majority of black women are in denial. They are in denial about the disdain and the disrespect and how negatively that black men think about us. And that is a huge concern for me. I don't like it, but I am aware that 95% of black women and girls are in denial about black men, how they feel about us, and also how they view themselves.
That's what I can't stand is the not all concept. Okay. Of course, let's say, oh, a lot of people like generalizations. Generalizations have a grain of truth in them, but they are not necessarily true, right? And a lot of people will like to, oh, well, all Southerners are racists. Okay. All right. That's not true. Okay. But I've heard black people throw that around. Oh, all white people are racist. There's a certain percentage. A lot of people are on a different spectrum. Okay. But not all. Now, when you say, that, most black men do not value black women, most is correct. If you had 1% going against the other 99%, there's no need to say not all. So if most men of the black collective would rather date outside the black collective and wants a woman who with most European features that he can find, even if that woman is considered black in some circles, that doesn't negate the fact that he would rather have a woman with European features. Okay. Most black men see things this way. The attractive women have European features to them. Okay. Now you can run in and say, well, not all. Okay. There's a few black men who are willing to date a beautiful mahogany skinned black woman. Okay. But that's not the majority, is it? So the not all argument makes no sense to me. What do you think, Gray Goddess?
I can't stand the not all because I feel like in any other situation, the majority rules. But for some reason, in the black community and with black women and black men, they feel like they get a different set of rules, and then all of a sudden, when it comes to describing the insufficiencies and the degeneracy of black men, then all of a sudden the majority doesn't rule now, and you have to say, or they expect for you to say and give the disclaimer, not all. But I feel like that's where we have to start correcting people, because like I just stated, in any other situation, there is no need to say not all, because if the majority rules, the majority rules. But in the black community, for some reason, they think they get a different set of rules, and they keep up with this not all nonsense. And I think that we should get rid of that. And I think the next time that someone challenges a black woman with a not all, I feel like she should say, well, if the majority rules, the majority rules. That should start being our reply, our response, our rebuttal when people try to force us to decipher between the not all and make the disclaimer. I feel like don't let people try to force you to differentiate, basically.
I
That's how
I whole I wholeheartedly agree, dear. I wholeheartedly agree. Thank you for putting it so succinctly. And but it's okay. But all black women are nappy headed hoes. All black women are thoughts. All black women are bitches. Oh, but we're gonna turn ourselves into a pretzel trying to pull disclaimers for black men, though. But black women get no mercy. Black women get no grace. Black women get no benefit of the doubt. Please, let's move on. Here's the next one that's really sad for me. That black women have bad attitudes and they're difficult and mean. Now, I'm going to get on my soapbox just a little here, okay? Many black women and girls are traumatized from their own community and their own family. Let me say that again. Many black women and girls are traumatized by their own families within their own communities because they are not valued. So how do you expect someone who's traumatized, and of course nobody gets treatment because the black community and mental illness, well, there's no such thing. Just pray on it. Pray on it. God gave you sense, right? God gave you sense to reach out. And sometimes when these girls and women reach out, they have nobody. They come up empty handed. There are no older women in the community to usher the girls along and protect them. There are no older women in the community that says, okay, I went through this. I don't want this baby to go through this. I want her to have better. No, we get, well, I went through it. You got to go through it too. I'm like, I mean, I went through labor pain. I wouldn't deny anybody. I wouldn't deny anybody an epidural. Sorry. Or any pain meds. It's dumb to me. Being a medical professional, I would never, ever do that. I don't like abortion. But would I deny another woman, a girl, an abortion? No. And the reason is because I am not in her shoes. It's so funny how other people can look at us and come up with a whole list, a myriad of negatives. And even our own men do it. They take part in it. And that's why it's so hard to accept. That's why it's hard to accept. Our own men have no sympathy or care for us. And I don't even want to call them our. I just call them the men of the Black collective because I won't claim them. I will not claim them. You can't make me claim them. They're not men if they don't care. If you're not capable of caring about anybody or having any compassion on the people and the girls and the women within your collective, and you know how hard it is out there, I have nothing to do with you. I don't claim you. So when you see a black woman or girl and she's having a bad day, nobody cares about her having a bad day, do they? They just call her a bitch and move on.
No, they don't care.
Go ahead, Grey Goddess.
No, I was saying, no, they don't care. They don't care about how we feel. All they care about is if they can get what they want out of us.
Exactly.
And they don't care. They don't care the mental capacity, the emotional state, or the mental state it leaves us in.
Oh no, they will attack us over fast food counters. Okay? They will shoot our babies up in cars. Oh, but this black woman is not smiling and you want her to smile. I say, screw your smile. You want to smile? Smile at her first and see if she smiles at you. And if she doesn't, that's her damn prerogative. Black women don't get the support they need from anyone. And you want her to walk down the street and smile. When all at the same time, people are like, they're looking at her hair, they're looking at her shoes, they're looking at her body size. They're looking at her body shape. They're looking at her skin tone. That's black men. Let's look at her skin tone. Let's see if she's worthy of anything, depending upon her skin tone and how pretty I find her or not. That's such bullshit. No community that disparages the women in its community will prosper. No community like that will prosper. Not for the long term, because the women are going to get mad. They're going to leave. And this is what we're trying to get Black women and girls to understand. You are worth more, darling. You are worth so much more. And that is why the world wants to look at you and bury you. What do you think, Gray Goddess?
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
I mean, a lot of those community funds can go to helping Black women and girls with mental health issues. But no, what the Black Collective offers up is drugs, because it makes a few Black dudes rich. Okay, they cannibalize their own community and then want to blame that very Black woman that they say has a bad attitude, or she's difficult, or she's mean, for that problem that they created. Really? Okay, I think the first thing men in the Black Collective should probably do, just stop having babies. Stop making babies. Put on a condom. Better yet, use your right hand, lefty. I don't care. Leave the women and the girls alone. Emotions are raw. I see them walking down the street. They've gone to their shift at some fast food place. They're never going to get out of where they are unless they get some help. Who's willing to help them? The only people who are really going to be willing to help them are other Black women, but other Black women are too damn enmeshed in this mess with Black men. Oh, we got to defund the police. Oh, we got to get Ray out of jail. Don't care about your poor girl walking around here with nothing and nobody, and not even some loving support from anybody, without somebody to put their hands down her pants. Sorry, not sorry. Fight me and bite me. I don't care. Little Black girls and women deserve better, even if they don't know it. What about you, Gray Goddess?
I agree, and it hurts me that it seems like our girls, they just don't get enough care and concern or support or protection. And I realize that a lot of the girls don't get a lot of care and protection, or their feelings are not put as priority. It's because a lot of older Black women, they were not cared for or protected, and their feelings put first. And instead of them remembering how that felt and then reversing their behavior and treating the other girls they come in contact with, treating them how they weren't treated, they just unfortunately repeat the same negative abusive behavior.
Exactly.
And I wish that a lot of the older women would go in to themselves and remember those feelings, and then do the opposite.
Exactly.
And to be honest, I don't understand why that's so hard for people. If you know how it felt to not have anyone believe you, or not protect you, or accuse you of being a liar all the time, or so if you know how it feels to just be neglected, I don't understand why it's so hard to do the opposite when you come in contact with a young lady, another young lady. I'm not sure, but that is what we need more. We need more Black women to do the opposite, and to help and be there and try to mentor the young girls. That's
yes, mentoring the young girls, because a lot of, I had my mother, thank God, I had my mother till I was 18. My problem is my mother had 4 children under me, and she died when I was 18. So we had a single mom. We had a single mom, okay? And Daddy wasn't there. Daddy didn't give a F. He didn't care, okay? Okay, and I think that's a lot of young girls in the Black Collective, they have nobody to turn to, so they get some piece of crap dude who wants to just slip them a penis pretty often, until he wants to discard her. and then she gets discarded with a baby. Or she just gets discarded with a baby and an STI or more. Or she gets pregnant and he decides to shoot her and kill her and the baby. That's happening more and more. So let me give a shout out to Black Femicide, because they are really doing a wonderful job. Love you ladies, love you girls, and in any kind of way I can support you, I will do so. Because our girls need to be loved and mentored. You know who mentored me, Great Goddess? A fifth grade teacher, white woman, red hair, blue eyes, from East Texas. Woohoo! And she was like my surrogate mom my whole life. I've known her longer than I knew my mother. She prayed for me. She's a very religious lady, and she loved me. And that love went a long way. So I was a kid with no advantages, a lot of disadvantages, poor as dirt. And that woman cared about me. She was my spiritual mentor and loved me, from East Texas of all places. And I didn't understand for a long time, but that was my first hug. You know, she hugged me at school and it drove me nuts. But then I got used to her hugging me. Okay? My children know her as grandma. Okay? So I didn't have a Black woman come along in my life early enough to say, hey, baby, you're worth something, and I'm going to make sure you know it. Well, this white woman did it for me. Okay? And they were threatening to put me in foster care once. But I got a chance to know my mom till I was 18. My mom was protective. She was protective of me, but wasn't protective enough of the younger girls. And, you know, I thank God I had my mother for the short while I did. Now, Great Goddess, you have a different story. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay. You have a different story. I've met a lot of people like you who went through the system. Tell me about that.
Yes, I was a foster kid growing up. So I was raised by a lot of different people. And even though I was raised by a lot of different people, I kind of still was, you know, off on my own. I pretty much raised myself and my siblings. So I'm the oldest of 6, and I had to basically, I was placed in adult positions from the time I was 8 years old on up until I became a parent to my firstborn child when I was 18. So it was difficult, but I learned a lot. But it was very difficult. It was very difficult. And I just had to learn how to care for myself. And I did. And I became good at it and making my own way. That's one of the reasons I became so ambitious.
Exactly.
So
thank you. And that is a testimony and a witness that we all see all the time. I was the eldest of 5. I was put in a parentized. I was a parent, pretty much a pseudo parent, until my mom died from breast cancer when I was 18. And you know, it was really hard. I had a mentally disabled brother who ended up being institutionalized after she died, and I took over his guardianship while trying to have a life, a career, and a family of my own. So definitely, I understand we are put in positions because the parents that we have don't understand how to be parents. They just don't. And I don't, what I don't understand, this is what I believe. I believe some negative aspects of a lot of those Western African cultures got passed down. Not the positive aspects, but the negative aspects got passed down during slavery and then during Jim Crow, and very few people learned how to break the doggone cycle. And breaking the cycle really required self-love. Breaking that cycle required self-love, because when you have that self-love, you can love others.
Yeah, well, you know what? That has to be spelled out for a lot of our women and girls, because even though I understand, but a lot of I used to have a mentoring agency called Elevate Her Mentoring, and it was spelled ELEVATE hyphen, and then her, which was all capital letters. And what I have realized is that a lot of girls, younger Black girls and teenagers, they find it hard to trust older Black women.
Definitely.
And I know why to a certain degree, but I feel like that's what we have to learn about discernment. You have to be able to interact with someone and engage with them, and be able to take time and see if you should trust them.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of Black women and girls don't really have a lot of discernment. They don't know how to be able to tell who they should trust and who they should not trust.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that makes mentoring for an older female like me, like myself, that's willing to mentor. I would run into girls, if they felt comfortable enough to trust me, wouldn't listen to me. And they felt like that they would know better, but yet they would always end up not taking my advice and making bad choices. And then running back to me after they make the bad choices that I explain to them that they should not make. So I feel like we have to get a handle on that, because how else can we teach the young girls if they're not willing to listen?
Well, a lot of times the young girls also, they haven't had certain types of behavior modeled for them either. I mean, and that's another thing. That's a problem with the Black collective. I don't know why, but the men, the boys never grow up. The girls have to grow up very, very early. And you have to figure out as a child who to trust and who not to trust, because a lot of times own family and own surroundings, those are the people you definitely cannot trust. So it is difficult. There's a lot of nuances that these kids don't have the capability of having yet, because they're so young. But that is definitely one that we have to come back to in a later episode, because we really need to talk about this. This is one of the foundations of getting Black girls divested. And really, when I mean divested, I want Black girls divested by 10, age 10. I want a Black girl to realize that she has to care for herself. And it's okay to care for herself and take care of herself and love who she is by age 10. Let's go on to the next one, because we can talk about this all day. Right, Greg Goddess? We can talk about this because it is so neat.
Yeah, we can, because there's layers to it.
There's so many layers, definitely. So that was number one. So let's go into number two. Don't go into independent Black girl mode when you find somebody who truly likes you. And what I mean by that is, let someone be nice to you. Let someone be nice. You may not be used to it, but get used to it, please. Great Goddess, can you please elaborate further?
I feel like sometimes it's hard for Black women and girls to accept people being nice to them, because they have not really ever hardly experienced anyone genuinely being nice to them without trying to mind fuck them or get something from them or use them for something. So I feel like they don't really know how to absorb and receive someone genuinely being nice to them just to be nice, because they're expecting something from them.
Exactly.
So I feel like we have to get a handle on that.
Yeah, and that comes from how that pretty much is reflecting what the girl or woman feels about herself. If she feels that she doesn't deserve it, she's going to mistrust it. Okay. And that's the thing the Black collective keeps telling you. You are not pretty enough. You are too Black. You are a thought. You're a whore. You're nothing. You're dumb. You know, you'll never know nothing, even though you're the most intelligent women on the planet. Okay. So, so that when don't go into this, I don't need a man, or I can do this myself. Hey, if somebody's willing to help you, you take that help and you accept thankfully and gracefully. Don't ever leave any good thing on the table that you deserve. Take it for yourself. It's okay. Anything else, Great Goddess?
I would have to say, I had one of my mentees. She died 2 years ago. And one of the reasons that she did pass is because I did everything that I could to save her. But what I didn't realize at the moment was that I couldn't save her from herself. She got in her own way. And one of the reasons that she got into her own way is because she told me before she was murdered that she had never met a woman that was nice to her like me, that just genuinely wanted to help her and wasn't trying to get something out of her. And she admitted to me that that was hard for her to accept.
Yes.
And I really do wish that she could have accepted my me being genuine towards her, my true concern for her. I do wish that maybe if she would have received it, that she would not have allowed herself to go and be around those people and get into the situation that ultimately costed her her life. But I feel like not only her not being able to accept someone being there for her, amongst other things, I do feel like just the way that she grew up with people not caring for her and no one really showing her any compassion is also what led up to her untimely death. I really do.
And yes, I believe it wholeheartedly, and we hear, and that story plays out every day. And so, when someone, don't believe what people say necessarily, just believe what they do. Okay? Believe what they do. Now, the next point is, don't bring Black collective trauma to your dating other men, because other men are socialized differently than men in a Black collective. Okay? There are men out there who actually respect women. They're hard to find. Don't get me wrong. I don't care what rainbow color you find them in. But that is what we want divested women and girls to find. Someone who respects you as a woman and don't want you to act like a man. You are not a man. You will never be a man. Okay? And so a lot of this stuff where, we've talked about before, where they this 50-50 BS is BS, because in theory it sounds great and feminist, but not really, because the women always end up doing 80 and the dude does 20, and that's a great percentage split for him. What do you say, Grey Goddess?
I agree. I'm not with the 50-50 thing either, because it's never 50-50 for the woman, because the woman always ends up having significantly more responsibility than the man. I don't care if it's a white or a Black man. I don't care if he's dusty or if he has money. Just what's required of women and what's required of men in a relationship is never equal. It is always required for the woman to do and give and be more. It just always is.
Exactly. And so that's, so don't ever fall for the 50-50 BS, because it's truly just BS. Okay, so let's move along to number 4. Don't bring social justice warrior talking points to a new relationship with a man who is not in the Black collective. I'm sorry. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit all day. Nobody wants to hear that all day. If you really want to get to know somebody and get to know him, let that happen. Don't bring your politics into it. Don't bring, oh, we're gonna defund the police. We're gonna help the black man get out. If he puts himself there, he puts himself there. Okay? That's none of your concern as a divested woman. I'm sorry. You think about yourself. The biggest part of divestment is thinking of yourself and what is best for you. Okay, so getting with somebody who may have a chance to get to know you and adore you is going to be stopped because you're worried about going out and marching and he's not marching and why he doesn't understand this or that. He's never going to understand it completely. He's never going to understand it completely. Let's say even if you dated a man from the Black collective, does he want to hear you talk about social justice warrior crap all day? No, he doesn't. So we really feel that as a divested woman, the black male collective is just not your concern. The woman in the mirror is your concern. Don't bring that to your dating situation, especially if it's a good one. Even if it's bad, just don't get to know that man that you're with. Get to know, see who's best for you. What's best for you? What do you say, Grey Goddess?
I agree. I feel like if you are doing any SJWing, I feel like if you're doing that, then maybe you should not try to divest, because that's a huge part of divestment, is letting that mindset go and letting those feelings go and letting that level of concern basically disappear for those people. But I feel like if you're still concerned about it, how can you really actually be divested if that's still a concern for you?
You cannot be. And that is the bottom line, Grey Goddess. Thank you so much for that. You cannot be divested if you're running around in the streets with your marching boots on, with your fists in the air, talking, yelling at the police. I'm sorry, ladies, but you're going to need the police if you stay in the Black collective. I'm sorry. At some point or another, you're going to need the police, because if you're dating these guys, no, you can't be divested if you're so worried about them going to prison. Sorry. Not sorry. Okay? You can't be worried about them going to prison. You can't be worried about their interactions with the justice system. You got to interact. You got to interact with yourself and basically get your bag in order. Okay? You don't have time to worry about these dudes in handcuffs. Why? Did you do it? No, you're not in handcuffs. Let them stay in handcuffs and you mind your own business and make your life better. Okay, let's go to the next point. The next point I want to make is stay away from non-Black men who have a whole bunch of Black male friends. Sorry. If they are Black adjacent, aka wiggers, whatever, stay away from those guys. You might as well stay undivested and in the Black collective, running from the police if you're going to be dating men who are not Black, but who are Black adjacent and have the same stupid, pitiful, ignorant mindset that a lot of Black men in the Black collective have. What do you say, Grey Goddess?
I wholeheartedly agree with that, because I feel like, what is the point? If you're still going to interact with these type of people, what is the point?
And if he is too lazy to work, if he is too pitiful to work, if he is too lazy and too pitiful to go get resources and help you out, I don't care. I don't care what color he is. You get him gone. Leave him on the curb where he stands and hope he can stand there, because I'd be kicking him. No, you don't deserve that. You don't need another anchor around your neck to pull you down. You deserve better, Black girl. You deserve better, Black woman. So take your beautiful ass and get better. What do you say, Grey Goddess?
Again, I agree.
Do you have anything else that you want to reiterate before we end this podcast today?
No, I would just like to say that focus on yourself, focus on what you want. Don't let anyone push your boundaries, and be more selfish. There's nothing wrong with it, and it's actually a need if you're going to survive. And if you are going to enter the divestment journey, that should be one of your main priorities, is being more selfish, self-absorbed, and self-serving, and not being afraid to say no.
Exactly. No. Only people who bring positive to your life are deserving of your attention, your time, okay? Your presence. All right. Thank you, Great Goddess, for being with us again this week. You are wonderful as always. And ladies, we are divested and rested over here. Okay, we want to show you a whole new world, and there are some YouTube channels that I would like for you to take a look at, and you get a kick out of them, and they are very, very informative. Check out Divested Zealot on YouTube. It's hilarious. Sometimes it is just plain hilarious. There's nothing to be said, but she gives it to you straight.
And she has a lot of insight too.
A lot of insight.
Yes.
She will have you cracking up. And also, Lexus Exodus. She is the little doll that I wish I had. Lexus Exodus is a great YouTube channel. You should check that out. She says a lot of very insightful things, and she has pictures. I like pictures. It's like picture books. She's a wonderful young woman as well. And I just have to go ahead and give a shout out to Cynthia G. She will crack you up. She will crack you up. Now, she is not divested. This is not a divested woman, but you can get some facts, and you can see real life scenarios that she can break down for you, whether you are with her all the way or not. She has some very informative pieces that can really help you really see what's going on out there. Okay.
Yeah, she really can. She really can.
She's hilarious.
I think those three channels that you gave are great examples. And I really do love Divested Zealot. I love her as a person. I love her as a content creator. She has great content. And the same with Lexus Exodus. I love her as a person and as a content creator. Those two ladies can really help young women or women of any age who are really trying to get into divestment, and for them to really get the messages and the understanding that they need to have to move forward.
And another one I'd like to throw out there to you ladies is Simply Said. She's just right on the money. And just get, go over there, take a look. So anyway, thank you, ladies. We are divested and rested over here, and I want you to join. I want you to join us and be happy. Okay. Bye-bye, Great Goddess. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye-bye, and thanks for having me.
Okay. Bye-bye, ladies.